All right, I told you to strap in on the last episode. It is time to take that deep dive. This is really the meat that I would arguably say, it's taken me maybe 3 years to really sit with, gather, wrestle with, all of it. This is the meat as to the fact that I am approaching my mid-30s with no kids and really the biggest aha that I've ever had. And I believe this episode is literally going to set people free. I believe that in this episode, people are going to be like, dang, I never thought of it that way. I've never saw it that way. I know, because when it hit me, I was like, oh my gosh, I literally cannot keep this to myself. I mean, I feel like I'm going to have to write a book on it or a devotional on it or something on it, but we're starting here with the podcast. Great place to start, by the way. So 34, approaching 34, as I'm recording this, no kids yet. No plan, insight whatsoever as far as like when that's going to happen. Now, we do have those conversations from time to time. And as you've heard in the previous episodes, and if you haven't, go listen to those. Pause this, go listen to those. They're short, sweet, to the point. You're going to want to listen to that builds in context for what I'm about to share. Because, again, recap, I thought I was going to get married in my early 20s. I thought I was going to start having kids in my mid-20s. By the latest, or sorry, let me rewind that. I thought I was going to get married, by my mid-20s. At the latest, start having kids by the time I was 30. And now I'm approaching 34. No kids. But I am married. So I wrestled. I wrestled a lot. I'm like, Lord, why? Like, what the heck? What the heck? What the heck? I will tell you this. Best piece of marriage advice. Wait a couple years before you start having kids, no matter what age you are. I'm telling you, like if Johnny and I were to have kids that first year or second year, our marriage would look so different because where does our focus go now? On raising these kids. Rightfully so, right? That's our job as parents. But the things that we had to uncover collectively as a couple, as a married couple, and individually, and it's still unraveling and will always unravel, has been astounding to me. Like I know that I've personally discovered. I'll have to bring Johnny on here at some point. He can talk about his side of what he's discovered. But goodness gracious, it has been crazy. I've had to sit with things that I never even knew that were inside of me because it came down generationally, number one. Number two, because I got so aware of my generational baggage that was passed down, I started noticing my husband's. I started noticing things that were passed down to him, and I was like, dang. And it was in a flash that it hit me. If we were to have kids any earlier than whenever we're supposed to have them, we would have not broken off what we have broken off to this point, and that would have been passed down to them. I mean, when I talk about what we've broken off, it's spirit of control, anger, suicide. What else? Financial bondages, money mindset blocks, just our own mental battles. What else? Gosh, I mean, there's so much else, but that we're just going to start right there with those big ones, right? Big ones. Because if I was so fixated on raising our children that we'd have, I wouldn't see the things that my husband was struggling with that were deep-seated, and vice versa. I know for me personally, because I'm not going to throw my husband under the bus on here and talk about all his stuff. I can let him do that later, even though I know he would be open to me sharing it because we're very open. What I'd struggle with is building context a little bit. My dad was an alcoholic, and it got so bad. There was a point where my mom said, hey, I am going to take the kids and we're going to leave unless you change. And cold turkey, he changed. He stopped drinking after decades, a lifetime of drinking. But in the midst of him drinking in his alcoholism, my mom had to really take control. She had to just like step in and take the reins. And I saw that growing up. And I've always like, yeah, mom, like go get it. Like, and I know that fed into the alpha female and the strength that I have today. Like I know that has played a role. But guess what it also did? In my marriage, I definitely in the beginning, I was like, I'm the provider. I'm wearing the pants. I'm doing the thing. Like, I'm emotionally intelligent. Like, I was just like, I'm it. Like, and then if Johnny didn't do something that I want him to do, like, it would be like, World War III. I'm like, dude, like, why wouldn't you do it this way? Like, that doesn't actually make sense. And I was always trying to change my husband into basically like a mini me, because I know I'm not alone. Other people want to do that because it's just easier that way. So I had to really learn submission to my husband. I had to really learn, like, I can get in the trenches and I can go to toe with anybody, and like, conflict, no problem. No problem. Let's jump in there. Like, I see something, let's get it done. I'm not waiting. My husband hates that. He's like, dude, you're always like, not always. Back then I was always super combative, always wanting to just, pick apart everything. Anyways, there's that. And I discovered those things about myself. And here's when I had an aha of like, this was how bad it was. I remember my husband and I, we were like maybe 2 years into marriage, maybe. And we're sitting in our first apartment together. And we're at the kitchen island. And I'm sitting there. And he comes up to me. And I think this was after like we had an argument or something. And he goes, Molly, like, I feel like I'm always in your courtroom. And you're the judge. And I'm always on trial. Always. Like, I'm in the court of Molly, constantly on trial, constantly being picked apart for all the things that I'm doing wrong. And I'm like, you feel that way? He's like, yeah. That literally gutted me. And he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. For me, I'm always like, I see a problem, here's a solution. Now, how you approach that is everything. And I had to learn a lot softer approaches, pick and choose your battles, you name it. But that struck a chord. That struck a chord. And the Lord really had to convict me on that, of like, I need to break that off. We need to break that off. Your kids are going to see that in you. You don't want that to be passed down. I'm like, no, not at all. I know with my husband and I, there was definitely some strongholds when it comes to money mindsets, for sure, from how both of us grew up. Gosh, and I named a whole bunch of other things. But here's the thing. Here's what I'm getting to. The Lord was revealing different strongholds that came down generationally, different things that he and I both picked up because of our life experiences. And he wanted to heal. The Lord wants to heal those places. He has healed a number of places because he opened my eyes enough, being like, look, let's deal with this now. And it got so much to a point where I was seeing different outcomes, different types of conversations, healing, restoration, tears. I'm like, wow, imagine if we had kids. Like, this would have been all passed down to them. But now we're breaking off really big things that who knows how long it's been coming down the line. And I will tell you, there are some in there that, oh my gosh, like, so hard that it was like, this sucker must go back for centuries. Centuries. I know in my bloodline, my mom and I have talked about it. Pride, logic, ego, love of money, security, just to name a few. Just to name a few. Security, I could go off on. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like that to me, that was riddled all throughout my life of just wanting some security. And, opened up credit cards, tried to figure out how to survive, got in a lot of debt, or, seeking out man to give me security rather than God. Really, like, trying to develop a deep faith of like, Lord, like, I need you to show up. And guess what? When you give him the space to do it, he shows up. It may not be exactly how you want it to be, but he does. And my husband and I have seen miracle after miracle after miracle. But it came with a price. It came with quite literally dying to our flesh and trying to just pick it up and do it ourselves. It's, Lord, what do you want? What are you asking me to do? So in the midst of this whole like not having kids yet part, I'm like, okay, I have this time that has been given to me. And I have no idea when we are going to even, attempt to start trying to get pregnant. No idea. I used to kind of pressure my husband into that, being like, babe, like, we need to like set a little timeline here. Like this is kind of getting ridiculous. And in 2023, mid 2023, June, July, something like that, he was like, you know what? Let's start trying in December. Well, now we're in 2024 and we don't even have that anywhere on the docket. Because we get to this point of so much is being broken off and we're learning so much about ourselves and we're growing even closer as a husband and wife. That's going to make it even more of a stronger unit for when our kids come, that like the Lord knows how to make them. Like we're not trying, and we're not trying to like prevent it. We're just, whatever happens, happens. And I remember getting to this point, and I hope people really lean in on this. We get so stuck on society's timelines. We talked about that last episode. We need to blow that up. Blow it up. Blow it up. You are not you're not a robot on a manufacturing line, and here is all the functions of you. You have so much more. Don't let the government and don't let society, don't let anybody tell you what timeline you should be on. Because if you do things out of its time and you try to push it and force it, it's going to be hell. It's going to be hell. So just don't. I've done that, gosh, way too many times, and it's just been hell. It sucks. So here is what I learned, and here's what hit me. Here's the revelations part. Here are the meat. After I've really dug in and surrender and released, Lord, your timeline over my timeline, your will over my will. It's always going to be that way, but if you really just partner with it and surrender to it, it's going to be a lot easier. When you realize that you do not have all the control or really much control at all, you can have peace of knowing that, you know what, I'm doing everything that I can, everything that I know I'm supposed to, and I got to trust God with the results, no matter when that may happen. So that's what I did. That's what I did when it comes to us starting a family. I cannot wait to be a mom. Oh my gosh. Inside of our Girl Power Alliance movement, I am one of the few women that is not a mom. And there are so many wise women around me. And I'm like, I cannot wait to bring a baby into this environment because I'm going to have literally all the best like advice and, just loving women around to love these children. So here was a couple of the revelations and the confirmations that came in that I didn't ask for. One, I was in my quiet time, and I do my quiet time dark and early in the car. That's why I like recording this in the car, because there's so much good stuff that comes out. And then all of a sudden I just saw this vision, and I'm laying on this table, and it was like in a delivery room, and I'm holding a baby, and I'm crying uncontrollably. And I know it's my baby. And the reason I'm crying uncontrollably is not, number one, obviously they say it's pretty emotional. You just got done having birth. That's miraculous. But number two, we did so much work and we broke off so much to get here. And this baby's going to have a way better life because of it. Way better. Not perfect. There's going to be pain. There's going to be struggle, but a way better life because of what his or her parents did before they came into the world. That hit me like a ton of bricks. And at that moment I said, Lord, I was weeping. I was like, Lord, if I'm 40 and I have my first kid, so be it. If we have to work through that much stuff, then so be it. It is going to be worth it. Another confirmation I didn't ask for. We met with some friends of ours, or we met some new friends, I should say, at our church that are health experts. And they have a really promising health program called Energized Health, the Jubilees. We love them. They are amazing. John and Chelsea Jubilee are just absolutely incredible. And I remember getting on a Zoom with them just to chat and just to get to know them. And they're talking about when it comes to health, there's so many things and traumas that will pour into the health that you have. And I remember telling her, I was like, wow, it's crazy. Like the Lord just revealed something to me. And I began to tell her that story of he's breaking off so much generational junk before we bring kids into the world. And I am for it. I've never heard anybody talk about it before. I never even knew that was really a thing. And she goes, you were absolutely right. I have done studies on that. I've done studies on breaking off things before, when it comes to like, whether it's mothers, or just anything like traumas, like things have to be released. Things have to be worked through before shifts and changes can really take root and take place. And, you know, in their program, they talk about all the time that women come in struggling to get pregnant after their program. You know, they have a lot of, I think they said energized health babies or something like that, like another baby, because of just them getting their mind, body, spirit, like in alignment, healthy, so they can bring a baby into the world. So I was like, dang, like there's another confirmation. Like I didn't, like, first person I've ever told this to, but let alone they studied that kind of stuff of like, you're onto something. Like, you keep going down that route. That is so true. Well, then here's another. October of 2023. We had our big annual event for our company, and the musical talent that we had come in, the worship band that we had come in, one of the ladies, I've never met these people before, mind you, one of the ladies comes up to me, and she's kind of like hunched over, kind of looking from side to side, and I could tell she was a little nervous and just like kind of scared of, like, just, you could just tell. And I was like, hey, she was like, hey, I don't know if you're open to receiving this, but I got a word for you. And I was like, hit me with it. She was scared because there's people that do get words for other people, and they may have been shot down. People don't receive it. They think it's a bunch of hogwash. It's woo-woo. And it's like, no, if the Lord has sent you straight to me to give me a word, give me the word. And then it's up for me to discern, was that really for me or not? Lord, show me, is what they're saying true? I've never met this woman. And here's what she said. She goes, the Lord showed me that you're going to have 2 girls. And the reason why these girls aren't here yet is because what he's breaking off in you can't get passed down to them. There's something so special that he wants to do in and through these girls. And that's why you haven't started your family yet. And I'm literally like, what? Like, are you kidding me right now? It 100% resonated. Someone I didn't even know speaking that into me. And all along, I just have a feeling we're going to have a girl first. I just have a feeling. Whatever the first one is, it does not matter to me. Healthy is all I want. But I just have a feeling we're going to have a girl. And when she said that, I was like, wow. Wow. Thank you, Lord. Like, that was so kind of you. And just affirming me along the way that it's coming. But I had to be in a posture of release and surrender of my own timeline. Also scrapping society's timeline and understanding that most people subscribe to society's timeline on everything. So when you understand that's what people subscribe to, and if they're trying to, you know, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And you feel their fears just, you know, crawling all over you. It's because that's all they know, and they haven't opened themselves up to anything else. I want to encourage you. There are people out there that may have a word for you right now. There are things out there that you need to break off, not only for yourself, but for your future children. And even if your family is already moving and growing, there is still work to be done. Doesn't mean time is lost. It doesn't mean, like, kids are sponges. They see and absorb everything. And I know there's nothing more that we want as parents to give them our absolute best and for them to see the best. Well, that means there's a lot of junk we got to break off and a lot of junk we need to discover. And maybe that requires you going to therapy, being in a couples group. Definitely means having intentional time with your spouse and with yourself, with the Lord, of, Lord, like, hold up the mirror and show me. Show me what I'm not seeing. Show me what I've maybe pushed down so far, down deep, that I wouldn't even know how to dig it out. But you do. You do. It makes me so excited for when we do get to start our family. It truly does. Because there is so much work that has gone into this that was by choice. We have free will. We have the choice to do it or not to do it, to seek it out or not. I'm always one, how can I keep improving and growing and healing so I can be the best version of myself for my husband, for those around me, of course, for my own mental sanity and growth, and number one, for my future babies, my future lineage, our future lineage. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. It is going to be full of emotion, and it's going to be so worth it. on so many levels. And I'm here to be patient and be at peace as long as it takes. Like I said, I told God and I meant it. I said 40. Okay, sure. Please don't let it be after 40. And Lord, please don't let it be that long. That's kind of a long time. However, whatever you have to break off, whatever you have to do, I am surrendered to that. Show me what that is. Show me what that is. That goes back to that last episode that we were talking about. Like, what fears are holding you back? If you're a male, a lot of it is provision. A lot of it, am I going to be a good father? I don't want to be a repeat maybe of what I had or didn't. I didn't have a father. I don't know what that looks like. Seek mentorship. Seek guidance. If you're looking for a community of men that you need to pour into to get that, reach out. Women, same thing. Reach out. There is so much out there for you to be able to view things differently, have a fresh perspective. And so much healing that is available for so many people. If they choose to go into those places, that can be really painful. Places you don't even know. It's like you're crawling around in the dark and you can't see a thing and you're just hoping like I can make it out of here. You will. But it's going to take some digging around in the dark. It's going to take some surrender of like, I have no idea what I'm going to find, but no matter what, I know we're going to get through it. So I hope that this was helpful to really dig into burn up society's timeline. I am so excited to see what God's going to do differently through our family, what he's already doing differently through our family that is so much different from our family members because the work that we've done internally and spiritually. A lot of people want to see like, oh, you don't have a house yet? Oh, you don't have a family yet? Oh, you don't have that car yet? Oh, you don't have this yet? Like they look at all the outside and I'm like, I'm sorry, have you healed from blah, blah, blah? I'm sorry, have you been able to go to, like, I wish there was good internal questions. You know what I mean? Like, I may not have this, but this is what I do have. I may not be in the dream home that I'm in or the dream car or have the whatever, but this is what I do have. And that's money cannot buy that. Internal happiness. I have healed. I am strong. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, I want those other things. The dream home, the dream everything, all the things. I'm a person of excellence and I love nice things. I do. I work hard and I get nice things and I want those things. I really do. Because I love excellence. I love it. I love being able to be in something that I can step out of and be proud of. We worked hard for that. Something where it gets my creativity and juices flowing. Something where maybe it gets people to ask certain questions. What do you do? And that can open them up to saving their soul or showing them a different way, a different path. But it all comes back on you got to do that inside work. You really do. And it's up to you to do it. Or maybe find somebody that can help you do it, right? Finding a professional, finding an environment, community, a mentor, a coach, somebody that can help you really dig down deep. So that's the meat. That is the meat in a condensed form, in like under 30 minutes. There's so much that you can take from this. And I know you can. I know there's a reason why you're listening to this. And a lot of women have been asking me to put something like this out there. And here we are. Here we are. I know women are so stuck. I know men are stuck too. We just got to dig into what's holding us back. And let's go and find things that we need to heal because I know they're in there. Find better solutions. It doesn't have to be the same old same like, oh, it's just not going to change. It will. It's just up to you. Do you want to put in the work to get to that point, to make it change? And all the while partnering with God to do it because we cannot do it on our own. Absolutely cannot. I would have not been able to go through all of that, hear all of those things, get into this space of even sharing this with you without God. There's no possible way. No possible way. That's why I'm so outwardly expressive and maybe to some obnoxious about my faith because it literally has saved my life in so many different ways. And it has helped me see so many things in a new perspective to really get so much more out of this life. And I'm so grateful for that. So if you got value out of this, share this with somebody Somebody needs to hear this. They really do. Somebody needs to hear this series. They need to hear it. They need to know that they're not alone. They need to know that there is work that they get to do on the inside of themselves to heal and to see it from a fresh lens and perspective of, look, you may be like, why now? Or why is it not happening now? Why? There's always a reason. Just keep leaning in and asking. And eventually you'll get the answer. It could take a few moments, weeks, months, years, but it will come. All of this that has come has been years of, why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? And just things out of my control, until I really leaned in, being like, okay, Lord, what do you have for me? And then just healing started happening. I started pressing into that. And it was hard. I will tell you, it's like, healing is not fun. It's like this. Here's an analogy. It's like if you've ever seen Wine Country. And in Wine Country, in the summertime, it is lush, it is beautiful, full of grapes, green leaves. It is just stunning. But in the wintertime, they have to prune. And they prune back 90%. 90%. So in the wintertime, you look at the same vines that were just breathtaking a few months ago, and now it's like, it just looks dead, lifeless. Nothing could bear fruit out of that. But they prune it back 90% to get ready for the next harvest that's coming months later. Pruning is necessary. Pruning, you could also insert healing is necessary. You have to heal. You have to get back into the painful pieces, and you have to be able to dig up, how did this make me feel? Well, how has this impacted me? How can we forgive? How can we have a new perspective? There's so much. But pruning, when you think of how you have to prune on a vine, by the way, you're cutting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Have you ever trimmed your nails or your toenails or something like that, and you cut it a little bit too deep and it starts bleeding? Like, there's probably going to be some of that. Whoop! A little bit too deep there. But it's worth it. The harvest will come, but it comes with a lot of work. We just got to be willing to do the work and be patient. Be patient for the things that we need to hear, that we need to see, that take time. Sure, God could be like, boop, there it is. But that's not how he works. When things are just handed to us, we never hold on to it the same. We never view it the same. We need to work through things, grow through things, partner with him to do it. And in that process, it will be so much more fulfilling when we partner with him in anything. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. It means the world to me that you would lean in, listen in, and be able to hear the value that's being shared on this show. Don't forget, if you love this episode, rate the show, leave me a review, be sure to share it with a friend, and don't forget to tag me on social media. I will definitely be giving you a shout out. Also, come say hi, drop in the DMs. I would love to be able to hear what stood out to you the most on the episode, and if there's any topics that you would like to hear on the show. We'll see you next time.